Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. I'm gonna be getting right into it. All right. We had a lot of volume come in this week, specifically really on JPY pairs. And in this forest cast, I'm gonna be focusing primarily on JPY because that's my primary focus going into this trading week. So we're gonna see what moves are playing out and how we can look to catch them further. All right. So excuse me, as always, starting with the dollar index though, we can see that the dollar is still correcting. All right. This was a bearish week for the dollar. Dollar rejected from this top. All right. So if we zoom out, I'm on a weekly chart. You can see that the dollar rejected from this major top, even that it made back here. All right. Where it had a major sell off. All right. So now where price is currently at, you see price form this bearish engulfing on the weekly. All right. Showing signs of a bearish correction to the downside. So we could break this down, really looking at structure. Let's say here on the 4 hour, price broke structure, came retested, and now it's still showing signs of more correction to the downside. So what I'm looking for the dollar, even going into this week, is at least we can see price come back into this level. All right. Then around here, it's a breaker bounce. Price could reject from here and just continue because price has been in the uptrend. If we look at this on the daily, price has been in the uptrend. So it could possibly just come back and retest structure and then continue to bounce. So we'll see how price develop because also this is FOMC week. All right. So Wednesday is FOMC. Wednesday is FOMC, as we can see that we have the rates, we have a press conference. All right. So FOMC usually brings a lot of volume into the market. All right. So keep that in mind if you're looking to trade in the dollar pairs. All right. Then Tuesday, we got CPI for Australian dollar. All right. And so mainly the major event is FOMC. All right. So let's look at starting with GJ. All right. So if we look at GJ here, let's say on the weekly. So GJ had a major sell-off. Wait, first and foremost, I want to show you guys the inside. We had a good solid week here in VIP. So just so you can see, if you're new here, be sure to like and subscribe. But just so you can see how it is on the inside, I call my trade ideas here. You can see TP2 was hit on USDCHF sell. All right, for 135 pips. All right, I give the exact target, take profit targets, the exact stop loss. TP1 was hit on EU buy for 62 pips. All right, and then we also had another trade I called out was GJ. Where we at? So here, TP1 was hit on GJ for 71 pips. That was on the buy. All right, and it went towards TP2, but I was anticipating this to be a bigger correction before we get the sales that we're seeing now. All right. And we also have, some people getting some testimonials in here, people getting results. All right. People taking advantage of these trade ideas. All right. So, that's the VIP. If you want to tap in with us and be able to, follow my trades, hop on the live sessions, you definitely want to tap into that and check that out. All right. It's a lot of volume in that, especially for the price. All right. And the price will be going up on the 15th. So keep that in mind. All right. So back to GJ, we could look at this, and where we look at this on the weekly, price had a strong rejection here on the weekly, right? We got this bearish shooting star, strong rejection. All right. That's a sign that price is likely not done dropping. Okay. So if we work our way down, let's say to the daily, all right, price is having a nice bearish rejection or bearish close below this level of structure here where price broke, retested in the past, and fell away. All right, so we're getting a nice breakdown. All right, so if we go down to the 4 hour, okay, let's see. So this is a level of structure that I pay attention to. You see here with support, turn resistance. This was a major level where price sold off from in the past, but where price made its way up, it's made its way back to this level of structure. If we look to the left, this was a level that price had a major sell-off from in the past. So we always look left to go right. Okay. So after I started seeing that breakdown from that level, I started anticipating the sell and was able to take advantage of it. All right. So if we look at this now, well, not the arrow, if we look at this and how we can catch, I'm currently in GJ right now. I'm holding this, I'm swinging this over the weekend. And I'm expecting more drop. I'm expecting this to really come back down towards these lows, towards 162. So I am holding this and anticipating more move to the downside. So now if we look at this, a point to pay attention to as well is roughly around 164. So I'm gonna go into that. But if we look at this structure right here, all right, price really formed like a head and shoulders right here, right? Head, left shoulder, right shoulder, all right. Price bounced at this level a bit, but then boom, we had a strong breakdown. All right, so price gave us a strong breakdown, breaking our trend line. So this is a strong impulsive move that we got right here. All right, and really seeing this type of breakdown here, like even on a 4-hour, you could have started looking for yourselves here. Stop loss above structure. All right, and just riding this down. All right, you still could have caught 150 pips out of that, even if you enter right here on the 4-hour. All right, but now you want to wait for a pullback. So let price correct, right? Let price correct some. On this correction or bearish flag, if it gives you that corrective play, then look for that continuation move to the downside. All right. So wait for the pullback. You can even measure this, from this top to this breakdown, and just kind of measure where price could potentially come. But overall, let it correction, and catch that continuation. If you guys hear rain, it's raining pretty hard right now where I'm at, so don't mind that. But let's look at EJ, EURUSD. Same thing, man. Like all of these JPY pairs you're gonna see is doing the exact same thing, having major sell-offs. All right, it's like some strength came into the yen. All right, so if we look at this on the weekly, man, beautiful weekly rejection, strong bearish. You can look at this as a shooting star, kangaroo tail. But whenever you see a strong wick rejection like that, that's a sign of price exhaustion, and price is likely to continue opposite from that wick. Now it might pull up some because this is on the weekly chart, so we definitely could get a pullback first. But this definitely is a sign that price is likely to continue to the downside. All right, and I could look at this on the daily, and we could see exactly where price came for that sell. So I could take my trend line from this low to this higher low and extend it out. You can see that price gave a beautiful retest because this is a major like daily trend line. So price here, you see price gave an impulsive break of that trend line here on the daily. It bounced all the way back up, gave a beautiful retest of that, and gave a nice rejection away. All right, so we can expect this to continue to give another wave down, more wave down. But if we look at this on a 4-hour, we can see, look to the left, this is a level, a bearish order level, where price had a sharp sell-off. Whenever you see sharp moves like this, all right, this is like an institutional move. All right, so price came back to this same level and had the same rejection. All right, same type rejection, right? Big bearish engulfing candle there on the 4-hour, big bearish engulfing candle here, right? So now just look to continue to ride this out. Look to continue to ride this out. All right, so we can look at this. Check the trend line here. You can see price broke that. All right, and if we look to the left, we always want to pay attention to price action and structure. If we look to the left, roughly around between 140 and 139 is a major level of structure. So if we look here to the left, this was a level around here, around 140 to 139. It's a lot of supply within that level. All right, a lot of supply. So that's something to pay attention to. All right. I will also pay attention like to around this top. So you see, this is also like a level of supply. And if we look at where price rejected from, right here, where price found support from, we could make this a psychological even number. Let's say 137 even. All right. Now if we look at that on the weekly, that's around this top of supply, right? Where price had a major move away. So it's not a coincidence that price found support there and bounced. All right. So now I'm expecting price to come back down towards 137. So what I would look for is watch for a pullback on the smaller time frame. All right, let price correct itself. Some type of correction, maybe a retest of structure within here, and then look for that continuation to the downside, back down towards 137. Now, if price comes down here and break through 137, like comes down here and break through this level, then that's a sign that we can go even lower to the downside. All right. So it's no need to rush. You know what I mean? Just let price come to us and we'll just react to what price is showing us. All JPY. All right. So looking at AJ is another one. We at this level of supply. All right. If we look at this on the weekly, look to the left, zoom out, you can see this is a major top where price had a big sell-off from in the past. All right. So this is a major level that we definitely want to pay attention to. Okay. So if we look at this, how it just rejected on a daily. On a daily, this just formed, this is an evening star right here. All right. A nice doji evening star, which is a sign of bearish pressure, a sign of sellers coming in. All right. It's a nice reversal or a nice sell-off indication. And the higher the time frame you see this on, the stronger it is. So we got that nice rejection right there, rejecting from structure. All right. Because we look to the left, I can even try to tighten this up a little bit. Let me see. I don't like the zone too wide. All right. So we look here on the 4-hour. This is all like supply resistant area, right? Type structure within this level. Okay. The zone I have drawn in, excuse me. So we can see we're getting an impulse rejection from that level. Okay. So now I could throw my trend line on there. If you're not in this, you want to look for a pullback. All right. Look to catch a pullback. I can even throw my moving averages on. You know, if you follow, if you're in VIP, you know the moving averages I use and how I use this for added confluence. We got the crossover. We see our 18 crossing over the blue, the 8, right? Nice crossover, more bearish indication. All right. So now with that, we want to wait for a pullback. All right. So on this pullback, price could likely could pull back early next week. On this slight pullback, you know, look for that continuation play to the downside. I'm expecting price to stay below this evening star candle, or at least that daily candle right there. So if price pull back some of that, you know, somewhere up here, you know, you could look for price to continue to play to the downside. All right, this could come back down. I would look for this to come back down towards 92. That would be probably like the next nice target I can see this hit, because you see this actually is a level of support. So I would look for price to come down and test that level of support. All right, and then if we break through that, of course, you know, we could focus on our next levels of structure and things of that nature. But 92 is a good target to pay attention to. So correction, continuation. Catch that. Watch for that on all JPY. CJ, CADJPY as well. All right. Breaking down. We look to the left. All of these is at major levels, major tops. This is a major level of supply. All right. A lot of these are at like yearly highs. Like this is the highest its CADJPY has been. And since the end of 2014 going into 2015. All right. So we're talking 7 years. All right. 7 going on 8. So we see here on the weekly, nice rejection. This is what you like to see. Nice shooting star rejection on the weekly, a sign of the bears being in control. And that's the weekly chart. So that means we could be set up for a nice drop for continuation. If we look on the daily, at first price actually printed. Look what we got. We got another evening star right here, similar to what I just showed you on all JPY. After that evening star on the daily, boom, look, continuation to the downside. All right. So we can see we got that breakdown on CADJPY. So what I can do as well, I can take my counter trend line here. All right, we can see that. You throw your moving averages on there. You see we got the crossover. I just added confluence. All right. So now let price pull back. All right. Let price correct itself on this pullback. You know, you can look for continuation to the downside. And with this one, you know, this could come back down towards this support level around 103.5. All right. That'll be a nice target to look for on CADJPY. All right. I'm looking for price to stay below this daily candle. All right. All right. So how much you want to pull back of that? When I see a strong daily candle like that, I like to see at least 50% of that pulled back or 50% retracement of that candle. All right. So within 50%, I look for price to stay, definitely stay below the body of that candle, you know. So, and then you can look to just write this down. All right, just write this down. So we'll see. We'll see how I want to pull back and just react. We don't want to get, you don't want to get caught up in just predicting. We want to react to what price is showing us. Supply and demand, price action market structure, react once you get around these levels so you can take a confident trade. All right, confident setup. CHFJPY. All right, it's not a pair that I trade often, but I'm just showing you all the correlations and how they're all, just take your pick. All of these JPY pairs should continue next week. So really, we're just waiting for pullbacks. All right. So with this one, I will be a little careful because we look at the last weekly candle. It is bullish engulfing. And a lot of these JPY pairs have been on uptrends because JPY has been so weak. So we can look at this on a weekly. So keep in mind, these are likely just corrections that were pullback corrections that we're catching. All right. This isn't as high on my list as the others, but it's the same thing. We came to this top, basically forming like a double top right here. Where price sold off. It's rejecting that supply area, and we're moving away again. So I could look at this now. We go down to the 4-hour. See price pulled into the supply range where we had a drop before, and it printed this bearish engulfing on the 4-hour, and then continued to sell off. All right. So I do expect more downside on this as well. I could take my counter trend line. All right. You see, boom, we got the breakdown to that. All right. So now I would say let price correct itself on a pullback. It's a little corrective bearish flag. Look for the continuation to the downside. All right. This could come all the way back down to this level of support. All right. Or it can be more of a short term. Right. A short term target, I would look for somewhere around here, around, anywhere between 104.5 to 104.3-ish type area, like around there. All right. But just let price pull back, and look to just catch the continuation. All right. That's Chef JPY. All right. EU. So now looking at a couple dollar pairs. EU. So we can see EU has been on the downtrend. All right. And looking at the dollar index is bullish, but it's correcting. So it's just a matter of how much you want to correct. Now, this candlestick on EU is bullish engulfing on the weekly. Could be a sign that we could get a bigger correction, So if we go down to the daily, price is still correcting up. So me, ideally, what I want to see price pull up deeper into this major previous level of structure. And on the retest of this level, then I will look to, look for potential short opportunities. All right. Because this is the next previous level of structure to pay attention to. All right. Now, especially if the dollar does open the week correcting more to the downside, it's very likely that we'll see EU continue up with the bearish correction to retest this level. And then when we retested this level, we could potentially get that continuation down. Now, a lot of it is going to depend on FOMC too. So expect a lot of volume to come into the dollar, because usually whenever FOMC is going on, you're going to see some strong moves on the dollar and on dollar pairs. So keep that in mind. Let's see if we can get that retest and potential continuation. But if EU, let's say with that bullish engulfing on the weekly, let's say EU decides to not just retest here, but break through here. If it breaks through there, then that's a sign that it's going to possibly go even higher before any more move to the downside. All right. And if that's the case, I will look for the next potential level, right? The next potential level. All right. So it all depends. You want to make sure it's not a false breakout and it's confirmed, but all we got to do is just trade in line with structure and just react to price. GU. All right. So looking at GU, similar as EU. We get in a correction. All right. If we look to the left, we are in like demand territory. If we look to the left, anywhere within here, price could start to move to the upside and correct up. All right. So it's interesting to see how things are going to be impacted by FOMC and how the dollar is going to react, because we can see that GU has been in the downtrend as well. Looking at it on the daily, looking at it on the 4-hour, we're just making lower lows and lower highs. All right, so what price is doing is it's basically retesting this area of lower high structure. Okay, so if price could hold here and just continue to the downside. All right, but if price firmly breaks above that, then that could be a sign that it's going to go even higher. All right, before any more moves to the downside. So the next point, potential point that I would look for, if price don't hold here, is to potentially come up in this level of structure, right, and set up for that potential continuation down there. So we just have to see. Me personally, I'm more so focused on JPY this week. If I trade any dollar pair, it likely will be after FOMC, after they show their hand, and then I will execute based off of that. All right, so we'll see. Really, we'll see how GU develop. Overall bearish. We could be setting up for a potential retest opportunity for continuation. So we'll just have to see how price develop. And USDCHF. USDCHF was one of the signals that I showed you that I gave out in VIP. TP, what was it? TP2 was hit for 135 pips. All right. So this was really a nice, textbook type play. So if I move this, right, if I look at this on the weekly, looking at this on the weekly, it started from up here, this level of supply, right? Price came over here, had a strong move away, break below structure, a retest of that level again, and broke back down. Now, if we look to the left, this is also a level of structure, previous structural support, turn resistance. All right. So now we can see on the weekly, nice weekly close. All right. And we're closing below that level of structure. So if we go down to the daily, all right, we can see we had a double top here on the daily and a move down. This was just a correction for continuation. All right. So with the continuation, the setup that I saw to give out the signal, so I'm looking here on the 4-hour now. I saw price, it shifted, broke down below, broke back below structure right here. Excuse me, it broke below structure. All right. So on this pullback and on this retest is where I actually had a sell limit up here, activated the sell limit, little to no drawdown. All right. The sell limit was at 0.9735. All right. It didn't go up more than 3 pips of that. And then it just gave us that continuation. All right. So that was a beautiful setup. That's the type of scenarios I like to look for. All right. Just clean price action based setups. All right. So now with this, I believe this does still have more room to the downside. All right. This does, so we could be setting up for a bearish dollar next week. We'll see. But this does look like it has, at least to start next week. I believe this could come back down more towards 0.95, towards these levels down here. All right. So if you're looking to sell this or trade this, I would still wait for a pullback. All right. Price could pull back one more time, on this pullback. If it does something like that, you could continue to look to short it, or whenever you get some type of opportunity for a pullback, just take the execution within structure. All right. So my bias on USDCHF remains bearish. All right. So that's all the pairs that I'm covering right now on my watch list. Again, a major week. We had a lot of volume in the market on specifically mainly what I'm looking at is JPY. All right, going into next week, we see we got those big liquidity moves, a lot of volume. So now we just want to, catch trading line with structure now. Just continue to ride that wave. Just ride the wave. You know what I mean? So look for those pullbacks and look for those continuations. And we'll see how FOMC have an impact as well. All right. So if you're new, be sure to like, subscribe. I appreciate all the support. You could join the free Telegram. Everything will be in the bio. All right. Join the free Telegram. I send out consistent updates and charts and analysis. People still can take advantage of that, the projections, and, be able to make some profits from that alone. But if you're somebody that, really want to be a part of the community, want to be able to get exact access to signals and with trade ideas, with targets, if you're somebody that's looking to get funded, or you have a funded account and maybe you want to take advantage of a good community that can help you make profits on that funded account, tap in with us. It's very affordable. All right. Right now it's only $37 a month, or $394 or $349 for the yearly price. All right. So that is the price until the 15th. All right. So, just take advantage if that's something that you want. Live sessions, training, and trade ideas and signals. All right. So with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Y'all be blessed. And, let's catch some pips next week. Looking forward to it.